Okay.
Good morning, my name is Kira Spencer and I'll be presenting on capital punishment in the United States. To start off my speech, I would like to show you the number of people who have been executed in 2020, which as you can see here is 17, over 5 states and the federal government. And then the number of people who were executed in 2021, which as you can see here is 7 as of October 5th, over 2 states and the federal government. My purpose here today is to inform you guys about capital punishment, and I think that it is important to know because while it isn't immediately useful to us right now, it does affect our society at large, and it also affects us in Montana. I have been learning about and studying about capital punishment for many years, as the criminal justice system has been a specific area of interest to me for a long time. So not only have I spent time researching on it recently, but I have spent time before. My main points that I'll be speaking on today are what capital punishment is, the history of capital punishment, and also the reasons for and the drawbacks of capital punishment. So capital punishment, commonly referred to as the death penalty, is a crime deterrent as well as a punishment for severe crimes, specifically murder contemporarily. The process of putting someone on death row and giving someone the death penalty, someone has to go through a lot of court proceedings, court hearings. There has to be a bunch of a bunch of lawyers hired, as well as people being put on death row. When someone is put on death row, they usually spend a long time there from sentencing to execution. The longest time someone has spent on death row is over 41 years. And when someone is put on death row, they spend a long time alone in solitary confinement. They have a lot fewer freedoms. They don't get to see very many other inmates, and there's also a lot higher security on death row. And I want to share with you a quote from someone on death row. "I miss the stars. You know, I haven't seen the stars in years and years and years. I miss the rain, I miss food, I miss all these things. But when it comes down to the most, and this is the thing that will scar me the most, and that I'll carry with me as a scar the longest, the thing I miss the most is being treated like a human being." This was a CNN interview with Damien Echols of Arkansas death row since 1993. I am not sure if he's still on death row. I did not look into that. But anyway, the number of people on death row has reached a 3-decade low, meaning it is the same amount of people that were on death row in 1991, which is around 2,500. The ways that people are executed have been, in the past, things like firing squad, hanging, electric chair, lethal injection, but have sort of moved more towards lethal injection. In fact, that was the most common form of execution, except for one instance of electrocution in 2020. Now that I have given a general overview of what the death penalty is, let me go through the origins of capital punishment in the United States. Capital punishment has been a thing in the United States since the colonies were formed. Great Britain had the death penalty and passed it on to the United States. There was a myriad of different things that capital punishment was used for, such as rape, specifically black men against white women, arson, treason, counterfeiting, etc. And then there were also a bunch of different sort of unofficial death penalties and executions, such as lynching and lynch mobs. And also, I believe the Salem witch trials, even though they did go through a sort of court processing and there was sort of a trial, a lot of the deaths that occurred through the Salem witch trials went through unlawfully. And actually, I have a picture, or a couple pictures. I'll show that in a second. These are some pictures of the Salem witch trials, and as you can see, some methods were burning up a stake, and then that's a sort of court processing. I hope that these statistics provided new information about the history of capital punishment, as I hope that the reasons for and the drawbacks of capital punishment are as well. One pro to capital punishment is that some people believe that it can deter future crime from happening or future murders from happening. Some people believe that if people see someone else commit a crime and then also go through and have the death penalty happen, that they will think about the crime that they're committing and then not commit that crime. A con of the death penalty, though, is that it is very costly. Let me show you. This is a cost of visual numbers. So as you can see, this is a death penalty case in Maryland. So this is where a defendant was eligible to receive the death sentence. So where the death sentence was not sought, it cost around $1 million. Where the death sentence was unsuccessfully sought, it cost roughly $1,800,000. And where the death sentence was fully sought and gone through it, it cost $3 million. So the death penalty cost roughly 3 times the amount of where the death penalty was not sought. And the Death Penalty Information Center says that overall the death penalty has cost $2.5 to $25 billion more than life without parole nationwide. Another pro to the death penalty is some people believe in the ideology of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I'm sure many of you have heard that saying. Basically, that means like people believe that people who have committed such a severe crime should get a severe punishment, or as severe a punishment as they have committed. So someone who has killed someone should also have their life taken away because they decided that it was right of them to take away someone else's life. Another con of capital punishment, though, is that many people see capital punishment as inhumane, in that no one should be sentenced to death because they could be innocent, and innocent people have been executed, as seen by some DNA testing that has been done. And also, no one should be killed, period, as in the government should not decide whose life can and cannot be taken away. And also, executions can be botched, and they have been botched. My specific purpose here today was to inform you guys about capital punishment in case you did not know, in case you didn't have any, as much information as I have given you. I have spoken about the history of capital punishment, as well as what capital punishment is and the pros and cons of capital punishment. I hope that you leave here today with a better understanding of what capital punishment is for you, and also what your opinions are on capital punishment. To end my speech today, I would like to say that the controversy surrounding capital punishment has been increasing more and more as years go on. In fact, states, I would show you, but I forgot to pull it up. There are 24 states who still have the death penalty, 23 states who do not have the death penalty, and 3 who are on moratorium, which is basically just a waiting period until the death penalty is sort of revised in a way. And this leads me to believe that the death penalty will be more scarce in the future, if not completely gone. I hope that gives you something to think about. Thank you.